right, wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining me for a 60-minute wall yoga class. We are going to use the wall as a prop, and I'm already noticing looking at this that my camera is a little bit off. So let me just tilt that so it's not quite so diagonal, maybe not. Okay, hopefully that helps a bit. Great, okay, there we go. So trying that again. So we're gonna use the wall as a prop. You might also want a blanket or a pillow or two nearby. If you don't have a wall, any sort of other sturdy structure will work, like a bookshelf or a dresser or a sturdy table, sturdy chair, doorway, anything like that. Otherwise, we're just gonna use a wall behind us as a prop. And we won't be on the wall the whole time, but we'll just have it as a place to kind of like rest or relax, or we'll use it as a tool for stretching, stuff like that. So you're gonna come into a comfortable seated position and just allow yourself to really lie back against the wall, right? So sitting up nice and tall, you can really let your head and shoulders relax back. You can sit crisscross applesauce or with one foot in front of the other in Sukhasana, easy pose. Just take a moment here. You're not necessarily dropping your head or hunching forward, but really just feel what it feels like to be supported by the wall behind you. So let your head rest against the wall, maybe your shoulders against the wall. And just enjoy this. A lot of times in yoga, we talk about, let the floor hold you up. We're using the floor as a prop, but today we'll use the wall as well. So just really allowing yourself to feel supported, to feel held. This is meant to be a restful, relaxing class. Already you can just use a stable structure behind you so that you don't have to work quite as hard to sit up tall. You're welcome to close your eyes. If closing your eyes is distracting, you can keep your eyes open and do like a soft fuzzy gaze just beyond the tip of your nose. And just start to check in with your day. So as I mentioned before class, I was running a little late to get here, and maybe that's your story too, or maybe you've had a really slow day, busy day, happy, sad, lonely day. Just check in with whatever story it is that you're telling yourself. Maybe noticing any, to-do list items that are still kind of in the back of your mind, any worries or cares. Just notice them. And then politely set them aside. Those, those tasks or those worries can be there for you after class, but just for now, you can allow yourself to be in a little bit more relaxed and supported state. So you're feeling your sit bones on the floor, letting the floor hold you up. Then you're feeling your head and your shoulders against the wall behind you, letting the wall hold you up. So you're really supported and held, right? Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. See if you can sit up a little bit taller, but you can still keep your head against the wall. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in and emptying out. There's a protest going by my house, so if you hear shouting, that is why. There's always some little distraction. I love living in the city for that very reason. We're gonna practice what's called 4-7-8 breathing. You'll inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 7, and then slowly exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. 4-7-8 breathing gives us something to focus on, right? We're focusing on the count of our breath so that the rest of our mind can kind of turn off. And we're also exhaling a lot slower than we inhale, which is a really wonderful way to soothe the central nervous system. It might take you a few rounds of 4-7-8 breathing to figure out how fast to inhale versus exhale. If after a few rounds, you're still having trouble breathing, you can switch it up a little bit. So maybe you inhale for 2 seconds, hold for 3.5 seconds, and then exhale for 4 seconds. The idea is you inhale fairly fast, you're gonna hold all that oxygen in the body, and then you're gonna exhale for twice as long as you inhale. All right, I'll start us off with a few counts. Relax your shoulders, lift your chest, seal your lips. Place your tongue at the roof of your mouth just behind your teeth and begin. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the inhale breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slowly exhale through your mouth. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through the mouth. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Savor the inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold the inhale for a count of 7. Exhale through the mouth for a count of 8. We'll do 2 more minutes of 4, 7, 8 breathing on your own time. If your mind wanders, just gently return to the count of 4, 7, and 8 as your body moves with the breath. Let's do 3 more full rounds of 4, 7, 8 breathing. Whenever you're ready, allow your breath to return to normal in and out through the nose. Notice any shifts in perception, maybe how you're feeling. 4, 7, 8 breathing is a really wonderful breathing technique to use when you're feeling a little untethered or anxious. But it's simply a technique, nothing more, nothing less. So sometimes, even after a breathing exercise or a yoga posture, you might not feel that much has changed. And that's valid, just as much as those moments of like, wow, like transcendental, I really felt something shift. Whatever your experience with yoga, with breathing, with moving your body is, it is valid. Sometimes we feel things really deeply or not at all. Maybe it's a subtle shift, or we don't notice until, an hour after class, or even a day or a week that's passed, that something is a little different. Just being open to whatever your experience is in class and trusting your body, trusting your breath. Inhale and exhale. I've been sitting on a little cushion and I'm going to remove it so I can sit up nice and tall. If you want, you can be slightly away from the wall here at first, still just sitting in a comfortable position. Inhale, stretch the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Exhale, drop your right ear towards right shoulder, stretching the left side neck. I was saying before class, the first time I ever taught a wall yoga class, we had our legs up the wall for pretty much the whole hour. And at the end of it, I was like, I can't feel my toes anymore. So we are not going to use the wall the whole time here. We're just going to use it as a prop at certain points in class, but we're just going to start by moving our neck. Slowly roll your head down, chin to chest, and then roll your left ear towards left shoulder, stretching the right side neck. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed or open, or a soft fuzzy gaze just beyond the tip of your nose, whatever feels right for you in this moment. Maybe bringing the left ear a little closer to the left shoulder. Good. Slowly roll your head down, chin to chest. Roll your head back up, look straight ahead. And then lift your nose, lift your chin, look up. Keep your shoulders back, chest proud. Relax your head back. And then slowly roll your head back up. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, drop your head chin to chest. Relax your jaw. Getting this nice stretch to the neck spine, gentle compression to the throat. Relax your jaw. Let your head drop. And slowly roll your head back up, look straight ahead. Inhale, stretch the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Exhale, look over your right shoulder. Keep your shoulders and hips pointing forward so it's just the neck spine moving. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look back. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind, look straight ahead. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, look over left shoulder, twist. Shoulders down, chest up. Look over the left shoulder, twist. And slowly come back to center. Take your time. You're going to come a little bit further away from the wall and turn to one side. So I'm going to turn to the right so that my right hip is close to the wall, but a little bit away. And from here, you can take your right hand and place it on the wall. So we're going to use the wall to twist here. Put your left hand on left knee. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over left shoulder, and you can actively push your right hand into the wall to help you twist. Now notice if you're leaning way forward or way back, you want to sit up nice and tall so the spine is twisting. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, press your right hand into the wall, look back, twist. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind, come back to center. Keep your right palm on the wall. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over your right shoulder, twist. So now we're turning towards the wall. Once again, pushing your right hand into the wall for leverage. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, look over right shoulder. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind. We're going to turn to the other side. So I'm going to turn to the left now. So my left hip is close to the wall. And place your left hand on the wall. Right hand on right knee. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over right shoulder, twist. Looking away from the wall. Push your left hand into the wall for a little bit of leverage. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over right shoulder. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over left shoulder. Just noticing how this might feel a little different. Again, push your hand into the wall for a little traction. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over left shoulder, twist. Good, and slowly, carefully come back to center. We're gonna be doing a lot of like turning around in this class. So you're gonna turn back so that your back is against the wall, and this time sit up right next to it. So you really wanna feel like the lower back, middle back, upper back, even the head against the wall. Now, for those of you that have done 26 and 2 style yoga with me, you know that we do a standing half moon. And sometimes I'll say, imagine you're leaning against a wall behind you. We're gonna do a seated version of that just here. So arms out to the side, keep your hands on the wall, sweep your arms overhead. Good. Can interlace fingers, release index fingers, cross thumbs. So you want to feel your hands on the wall, your head on the wall, your back on the wall as much as you can. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, without coming off the wall, start to tilt to the right. Good. So you want to keep both shoulders on the wall, thumb on the wall, head on the wall. Right? So the shoulders are in line. Drop the shoulders, squeeze the palms, lengthen your hands to the right. Stretch your hips a little to the left, come down as far as you want without coming off of the wall. Good, slowly come back up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, drop to the left. Shoulders on the wall. Notice what parts of your back come off the wall. So I have like a little bit of it, well, I actually have a lot of a scoliosis, but I have a curvature in my lower spine as well. So my lower back is coming off the wall. I'm going to try and pull the abdomen in, tuck your tailbone under a little bit, trying to press the lower back into the wall. Middle back, shoulders, head into the wall, hands on the wall, coming down to the left. Beautiful. And slowly come back up to center. Good, release the grip, have your palms facing out, so knuckles on the wall, drop your shoulders, lengthen your head, inhale, stretch up. You've got it, exhale, fold forward, hands to floor, drop your head. Good, bring the shoulders down away from the ears, press your palms into the floor. Take a breath here. And slowly roll yourself back up. No rush. Okay, wonderful. From here, we're going to come into tabletop position. You're going to tuck your toes under. I'm going to show you from the side. So you're going to tuck your toes under so that your feet are back against the wall, toes tucked under. So normally in tabletop, right, we'd have the feet relaxed, but here the toes are tucked under. So it's a nice little Achilles stretch. Try to press your heels into the wall. And we're going to take a few cat-cows. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale, pull your abdomen in, drop your head, round your spine. So again, the toes are tucked under, balls of the feet are on the back wall, maybe heels touching the wall. This is cat pose, meow. Cow pose, move, start to look forward, drop your abdomen down, stick your butt out, roll the shoulders back and down, look up and back. Cat pose, meow, round your spine. It's compression to the abdomen, extension through the back. Spread the shoulders wide, keep the shoulders out of the ears, look for your belly button. Cow pose, abdomen down, squeeze shoulders together, roll the shoulders back and down. So the common denominator between cat and cow is that the shoulders stay out of the ears. Good, let's do that one more time. Cat pose, round the spine, slide the shoulders apart, drop your head, press your hips forward. And cow pose, tilt your pelvis back, tilt your tailbone up, I should say, look up towards the ceiling, open through your heart space. Good, and then come back into a neutral position. We're gonna do thread the needle, keep your left hand on the floor. Inhale, reach your right arm up, stretch up, look up. Exhale, thread the needle, right arm through left arm, right shoulder to the floor, right ear on the floor. You can keep your left hand on the floor or reach your left arm up and wrap behind you for a bind. And if thread the needle does not feel good to your body, no problem. You're going to come out and I will show you an alternative where you take your right arm across your side body and bend your left arm up. This way you still get the nice shoulder stretch without putting too much pressure on the shoulder. Take an inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your nose. Good. Release. If you have your left hand dropped behind you, place your left hand back down on the floor, and then everybody together, unthread the needle. Inhale, reach your right arm up, look up. Exhale, place right hand on the floor. Other side. Inhale, reach your left arm up, look up. Nice stretch. Exhale, thread the needle, left arm through right arm, left shoulder to the floor, left ear on the floor.
Right arm up, and then if it feels good, drape your right hand behind you, catching your left thigh with your right hand for a half bind, or you can keep your right hand on the floor. And again, if this does not feel good to your shoulder, you can come on up, take your left arm across your side body, bend your right arm up, and now you get that same shoulder stretch. Connect back to your breath. Slow inhale and easy exhale. If you have your right arm draped behind you, reach your right arm up to the ceiling, place your right hand back on the floor beside your head. Everybody together, inhale, unthread the needle, reach your left arm up, look up. Exhale, place your left hand down on the floor. Good. From here, you're going to keep your toes tucked, walk your hands back, and see if you can sit on your heels. So I'll show you what it looks like from the side. Might not happen today. You might stay on all fours, and this is a wonderful place to be. You can also roll up your mat or place a little bit of an extra blanket or pillow under your knees if you have tight knees. Otherwise, just sitting back, you can bring your hands together in prayer and try to get your head and shoulders back against the wall so you're getting this nice toe stretch while simultaneously lengthening through the spine. Relax your jaw, relax your brow. Inhale, exhale, and then come forward, put your hands on the floor, come a little bit more forward, untuck your toes, and then you're just gonna tap out your toes. Very nice. Okay, from here, we're finally gonna do our legs up the wall fun stuff in class. So you're gonna come to a lying down position, lying on your back. There's no easy or graceful way to get your legs up the wall, let me just say that. So I like to kind of sit with my one side close to the wall and then eventually kick your legs up, and then you just kind of waddle your butt back so that your butt is finally touching the wall. I've not figured out like a pretty way to do that, but if you have tips, please let me know. Otherwise, you just make your way so that your legs are up the wall. So this posture, this famous posture is called legs up the wall pose, right? Physically, it's a nice like hamstring stretch. Can be good for digestion. It's a good way to stretch out the sciatic nerve. Folks who have sciatic nerve pain often find that legs up the wall can be helpful for stretching out that nerve. And then on a more like psychological, emotional, even spiritual level, this posture is meant to be very good for releasing like anxiety or worries or cares. I have a friend who lives with a lot of anxiety and says this is like a top 5 coping mechanism for her is legs up the wall. One thing I think it's important to address in yoga is that yoga is a wonderful tool for healing, but it's not necessarily a cure, right? So when I talk about like legs up the wall pose can help with anxiety, yes, and so can talking to a therapist, right? Being treated in, whatever different ways, whether it's through therapy, medicine, a combination. Yoga is a really wonderful tool. It's a healing tool, but it's not necessarily a cure. And I say that simply because I have so many friends who struggle with, like real anxiety, real depression, real sciatica, right? Real hamstring tightness, who find it very discouraging when they talk to yogis who are like, oh, you should do yoga, right? Yoga can be a really wonderful tool for self-realization, for self-love, for healing, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, but it's just one tool in our toolbox. So I, want to address that, particularly with this posture, because if you Google legs up the wall pose, right, there's people who will be like, it cured me of my depression. And I always think that's like maybe a little fantastical, right? But it's certainly one mechanism. So again, we're stretching the hamstrings, we're lengthening through the spine. We're also just starting to bring blood from the feet back down to the abdomen. I will also say some people say that inversions like this, where the feet are higher than the heart, some people say that if you are menstruating, this is not a posture to try. However, there are other people who think that this actually helps with menstruation. So if you are a person who menstruates, that is just something to keep in mind. If it feels good for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't, you can come off of the wall. And instead of having your feet all the way up, maybe you just try bending your knees so that your feet are on the floor. And now you're getting a little bit of blood flow, but not too much. We're gonna hold here for a minute and breathe in and out through the nose. If you'd like, if your head is like a little heavy on the floor, you can always place a pillow under your head. I'm gonna do that, it feels so good. And then just relax, let your hands be heavy. Feel your lower spine relaxing into the floor. Middle spine relaxing into the floor. Shoulders relaxing into the floor. And let the floor hold you up. And let the wall hold you up as well, right? So again, one of the things about this class is we're really just allowing ourselves to be supported by the floor, by the wall, as we connect back to our breath and back to the body. We'll come back to variations of this posture throughout class. Again, one thing that I've learned teaching this class over time is that too much time with your feet up the wall, especially for too long, can be like a little bit too much blood flow going away from the feet. So we'll periodically like bring our feet down. So as you're ready, you're gonna bend your knees so that your thighs start to come into your abdomen. Maybe feet are on the wall now. You can bring your arms out to the side or bend your arms so they're cactus like goalposts. And from here, start to roll to your right. So the left hip lifts up. We're doing a nice spine twist here. Left hip stacks on top of right hip. Left knee on top of right knee. Left foot on top of right foot. And maybe the soles of your feet are against the wall. Can you have your head flat on the floor or look to the left? This is a nice spine twist. And again, a way for the blood to kind of flow back towards the lower body. So in yoga, not just wall yoga, but really all styles of yoga, we play around with circulation a little bit, right? Whether it's through lifting our legs up the wall or by tilting forward or twisting or whatever it is. When the legs are up the wall, obviously there's not as much blood flow to the toes. And then when we come back down off of the wall, we get a nice rush of blood to the lower body. In this spine twist that we're doing here, try to keep your left shoulder on the floor. Spine twists, in my opinion, are really like the unsung hero of back health. If you sit at a desk all day or you hunch forward over your phone all day, you might have figured out by now that it feels good every once in a while to like stand up, put your hands on your back and do a back bend. But you also want to make sure you're doing spine twists, right? So this is just a nice way to kind of twist out the back. It's also an abdominal twist. It's really good for digestion. If you ever have an upset stomach, spine twisting, torso twisting like this is a nice way to soothe the stomach as well. And we'll just hold here for a minute. Notice where you might be holding on to some tension. Just let it go through your exhale breath. Let your body get a little heavier. Let the floor hold you up. You're looking over your left shoulder, roll your head back on, looking up towards the ceiling, and then you're gonna slowly roll your left hip back down and then roll to the other side, left hip to the floor. So right hip stacks on top of left hip, right knee on top of left knee, right foot on top of left foot, maybe your feet are, soles of the feet are against the wall. Try to get your right shoulder down. You can have your head on the floor or roll your right ear down towards the floor, looking over right shoulder. And you might find that this side feels a little or a lot different. And that's really normal, right? We're not symmetrical. And part of our self-realization, self-actualization, self-love journey, sometimes we have big self-realization discoveries, like about our past or, our heart's desires or whatever it is. But sometimes our self-realization is as simple as my right hip is tighter than my left hip today. And then we get to think about like, why is that, right? Or where am I holding tension in my body? So whenever you notice asymmetry in your body, or whenever you notice that something is tight or just not how you wish it was or how you think it should be, rather than like judging yourself or being sad about that, I really encourage you to congratulate yourself for knowing and for noticing, because there's so many people who go about their day not really realizing that their right hip is tight, and then they do something thinking they can do it, but the range of motion isn't there, and then they, that's where we get hurt, right? It's just when we don't realize our own limitations. So when we realize where we are in this moment, both in body, but also like in mind, heart, and spirit, I think we're a little less likely to get hurt. We're also a little bit more compassionate with ourselves, right? On those days where you're like, ooh, my shoulder is really tight, that's an invitation to be compassionate with yourself rather than forcing your body to do something that doesn't feel good. You're just going to notice and just be present and breathe. If you're looking over your right shoulder, roll your head back straight ahead, and then you're going to slowly roll your right sit bone down. Place both feet on the floor so your knees are bent, and then slowly slide your legs back up, back into legs up the wall. If you have your elbows bent, you can keep them here, or maybe bring your arms back down by your sides. And from here, we're going to do an inverted butterfly or diamond pose. So you're going to start to bring your feet together and then bring your knees out. So start to bend the knees so that the soles of your feet come together, still up the wall. And then you can just let your knees drop as low as they feel. So I have fairly open hips, so my heels are able to come pretty close to my groin. This might be true for you, or you might find that your feet are super far up the wall, and there's no right or wrong there. You're welcome to bend your arms so that your hands are on your thighs, kind of pushing your hands into your thighs. And you can also place pillows under your legs so that your legs don't drop too much or to a point that doesn't feel good. Otherwise, you just let your heels drop as much as they want. You can have your arms down by your sides, or if it feels good, you can, again, bend the arms, place your hands on like the knees and press the knees back towards the wall. We're gonna hang out here for 3 minutes. Okay. So this is a great hip opener. Again, too much is too much, especially in a 3-minute hold. So if you need to grab pillows to kind of place under your thighs for support there, or if you want to bring your heels back further away from your groin, you're welcome to do so. Let your pelvic floor relax. Let your abdomen be heavy like lead. Notice what parts of your body are touching the floor. And maybe what parts of your back or neck aren't touching the floor. Notice what parts of your body are touching the wall. And what parts of your body aren't touching the wall. And there's no right or wrong, it's just an invitation to notice. Some people call, sorry, this is my favorite joke, I have to say it every time. Some people call this the most spiritual of postures because it's the meeting of two souls, right? The soles of your feet are touching each other. I love that joke. Again, we're opening through the hips and knees, but never going to a point of pain. Holding here for another 1.5 minutes. Notice where you might be holding on to some tension. Let it go through your exhale breath. Take an inhale through your nose. And an exhale through your nose. Inhale through your nose. And if it feels good, this time you can open your mouth and sigh out anything that you just want to let go of. As you're ready, you're slowly going to slide your feet back up the wall so the legs lengthen again. Take a moment here with your feet up. So when we bent the knees out to the side like that, we open through the hips and we also stretch the inner thighs. Now with our legs back up the wall, we're stretching back into the hamstrings. From here, bend your legs in towards your body. So bend your knees, hug your thighs in towards your body, let your feet slide down the wall. You can place your hands on your shins or your knees and just give yourself a hug. If it feels good, you can kind of rock back and forth, rolling out the back. And from here, bring the soles of your feet back onto the wall so your knees are bent. You can slide your legs up as much feels good. Keep your left foot on the floor. Pardon me, left foot on the wall. I'm getting a little mixed up. Left foot on the wall. Take your right foot off the wall. Bring your right knee to the right. Place your right ankle, shin on top of your left thigh. If you need to slide away from the wall a bit so your butt's not exactly up against the wall, that'll make this like slightly less of a stretch. And this is a wall supported version of figure 4, right? So you want both hips, both shoulders on the floor. If you look down the center line of your body, you can see your legs are making a bit of a 4 shape. If having your left leg bent with your foot on the wall is too intense of a stretch, just slide your left foot back up so the left leg is long, but the right ankle still touches the left thigh. And now you're still getting that hip opener and sciatic stretch, sciatic nerve stretch without having the thigh all the way into the chest. Otherwise, you can keep the left leg bent and the left foot just relaxing onto the floor. Pardon me, onto the wall. I was once doing like a handstand yoga class that's it's like hours of handstands and with breaks, obviously, but the teacher was saying she was like, be very careful that you always know up from down. She was saying she once taught a class, and at one point, you know, like a dear student of hers who she had a good like repertoire with, but she just heard like a collapsing sound, and she looked over and she was like, oh my God, David, are you okay? And he was like, I forgot which way was up. Like he'd just been doing so many handstands that he thought he was standing, and then he was fine. But I'm realizing I'm having a bit of that right now, where I keep thinking that my left foot is on the floor when in fact it is on the wall. We'll take another minute here. And this is a really nice way to stretch through the right seat, the right thigh, the right hip. And if you have sciatic nerve pain or know someone who does, any version of figure 4 or pigeon pose, as well as legs up the wall, are really wonderful for stretching out that nerve that runs, you know, from the lower back all the way down the leg. Take an inhale through your nose. And an exhale through your nose. Breathe in. And if it feels good, open your mouth and sigh it out. As you're ready, you're going to slide your left foot back up the wall so the left leg is long. Uncross your feet, put your right foot back on the wall. Take a moment here to hang out. One of my other favorite things about wall yoga classes is like we literally get to kick our legs up, right? We get to kick our feet up and relax. So nice. Let's do the other side. You can bend both legs again, or if it felt better, keep the right leg straight at first. Bend your left leg so that your left ankle touches your right thigh, left knee goes to the left. So if you look down the center line of your body, your legs are making a 4 shape. And then from here, if it's not already, you can bend that right knee so that the sole of the right foot is pressing into the wall, just kind of relaxing into the wall as you draw your thighs closer to your abdomen. And again, just take note of how this side maybe feels the same or feels different. And part of our self-realization journey at first is just noticing, ooh, my left knee is tighter than my right knee. And then it's kind of thinking or pondering about why this might be. You might know why it is, right? Like a previous injury or surgery, or there might be some room for exploration there. Often like shoulder tightness is associated with, for example, like if you carry a purse, right? Like what side do you carry that purse on? I think sometimes because we notice our tightness or our pain in yoga, we think that yoga is to blame for that pain or tightness. And don't get me wrong, there are such things as yoga injuries. It happens frequently. And there's also such thing as, postures that like exacerbate something. But a lot of times it's just that when we actually take time to listen to our body and stretch, that's when we realize that something is amiss. So if you're noticing that happening, like, ooh, my hip is tight, maybe the yoga posture is to blame, right? But maybe it's actually just that moving in this way is making you realize that something is a little tight. And then that's just an opportunity to explore, like, how do you sit at work? How do you sleep? Again, what side of your body do you carry your purse on? Where do you carry tension in your body? I've told this story before, but when I was bartending, I, for a while in yoga, had this horrible shoulder pain and like couldn't lift my right arm over my head and thought that, like the yoga poses were to blame. And to be fair, again, I think the yoga poses at a certain point started exacerbating rather than healing the injury. But I finally figured out what it was is that I would work football Sundays. Heidi, you'll appreciate this. Working football Sundays at a sports bar upstairs where the taps for the beer was kind of high up. And so to pour beer, making this motion with my arm over and over again, I was having to like lift my right shoulder at a really weird angle. Had I just kept my arm down by my side all day after bartending, I might not have realized it. But because, in some yoga classes, it's really heavy on arms over the ears, I really noticed that shoulder pain. But it took me a while to realize that the cause of the pain wasn't yoga. The cause of the pain was something like in my professional life. And then once I figured that out, I was better able to figure out, okay, how can I modify these yoga postures so that they're helping me heal rather than exacerbating the problem, right? And that's something I'm always happy to like workshop with folks after class. If you're ever noticing like, hey, this does not feel good for my body, I might not have an answer, but I probably have some other questions to ponder. And usually between the two of us, we can come up with good modifications or solutions for any like aches or pains that you're dealing with in a yoga class. Take an inhale through your nose and an exhale through your nose. Breathe in. And if it feels good, sigh it all out. If your right knee is bent, you're going to slowly slide your right leg back up the wall. Uncross your left foot on the wall. Bring your arms out to the side. And from here, you're again going to twist, this time with legs straight. I'm going to have to move some stuff here. So you're just going to roll off to the right so that your left hip comes off the floor. But this time, rather than bending your knees, just have your legs straight. Try to keep the left shoulder on the floor. And you might feel some blood rush back into the feet here. You can have your head on the floor or look over left shoulder. If you're looking over your left shoulder, look back straight ahead. You're going to roll your feet back up and roll to the other side. I don't know why, but I was just thinking of pandas. You know, when you watch panda bears roll, so just roll like a panda to the other side. So your legs are long, right hip stacks on top of left hip. Have your arms out to the side. Maybe look over your right shoulder for a nice neck twist. You're looking over your right shoulder, roll your head back, looking up towards the ceiling, and then like a panda bear, roll your feet back up onto the wall. And from here, can bring your hips a little closer to the wall or further away. With your legs straight, you're just going to start to let both legs open out to the side. So now the inner thighs are stretching. Earlier, we made like a butterfly or diamond shape with the feet together. This time, both legs long. And it might be helpful to place some pillows underneath your thighs, just wedging them there, or having your hands for support. We're just going to hold here for a few breaths. The more you let your feet drop towards the floor, the more you'll feel an inner thigh stretch, but you're never going to a point of pain. We won't be here for very long, just a few slow breaths in and out through the nose. As you inhale through your nose, feel your chest rise. Exhale through your nose, feel your chest fall. Inhale. And if it feels good, sigh it out. Okay, you can place your hands under your thighs to help bring your feet back up the wall. We're going to take a moment here to completely roll off the wall. Again, I've not figured out a graceful way to do this, but take your time just rolling so that now your whole back is off the wall. You're lying in some sort of a savasana or puddle pose. And you might feel kind of a trippy sensation, right, as the feet come back down to the floor. And teaching this class over time, I've realized that too much time with our feet up the wall is a little bit too much. So here's a cool thing that's happening with all that stuff where our legs were up the wall. You know, we had this blood that, you know, normally would be circulating to our toes, but instead was going towards our abdomen, towards our heart, towards our head. And now when we come back down, all of that blood that was maybe pooling in the abdomen or the heart area is now rushing back down towards the feet. And this is one of the things that I love about yoga. Sometimes the release from the posture can be as therapeutic, as transformative, as intense as the posture itself. And I think this has real world applications, right? Like sometimes when we're going through something, we're experiencing it, we're feeling it. But once it's over, that's when we're like, whoa, that was actually kind of crazy. I can see the effects of it, or that was kind of intense. Sometimes when our feet are up the wall, we don't really realize what's happening with our circulation until we bring our feet back down. And then when we feel that blood shift change, we're like, oh, wow, something was actually going on there. We're going to hold here for another minute. If it feels good, you can roll out your toes or do a nice stretch here, whatever feels good. From here, you're going to bend your knees so your feet are on the floor. You're going to roll off to one side and then roll onto your abdomen. One of the bummers about legs up the wall poses is there's not a ton of back bend. So we are going to do one back bend here called Sphinx pose. And I'm going to show you from the side. Bend your arms so that your forearms are on the floor. Let your feet relax. Press your forearms into the floor. Notice if your shoulders are up in your ears. You're going to bring the shoulders out of the ears. Roll the shoulders back and down and look straight ahead. So this is a nice back bend. Again, we're just giving our feet some time off of the wall before the end of class. Having your elbows directly under your shoulders is too intense of a back bend. You can bring your arms forward. And we're just going to hold here for a minute. So again, we've done some spine twists in class, which are really important for spine health, but I do believe that back bends are also really important for back health. So making sure we get this in. We also did some back bending at the beginning of class with the cat and cows, but always want to make sure that we get a heart opener and a little bit of spinal compression in every yoga class we do, because I so believe in the healing benefits. Again, especially in a world where we tend to like hunch forward, look down, right? It's really important to look forward. Roll the shoulders back and down. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Breathe in. And if it feels good, sigh it out. Okay, from here, start to lower down, elbows out to the side, hands in. You can look to your right with your left ear on your mat. Take a breath here. Gently lift your head, look to your left, right ear on your mat. Take a breath here. Lift your head, look straight ahead. You're gonna roll yourself back onto your back or your side. And again, there's no graceful way to do this, but our last legs up the wall pose. Take your time, bringing your feet up the wall. Again, you can place a pillow under your head or your lower back or anything that feels good for you. And this is our last posture. And we're going to hold here for a little over 3 minutes. You know, in the history of yoga, right? Sometimes when we think about yoga, we're like, it's ancient, right? Like that's one of the things that comes to my mind. I'm like, it's thousands of years old. But the truth is that a lot of yoga postures are actually only like 50 years old or 100 years old, or at least the version of the posture that we do isn't 1,000 years old. Legs up the wall pose or variations like this are actually pretty old, and there's depictions of like yogis doing stuff like that, like this, in like, you know, paintings that are like 500 years old. So I also appreciate this posture because it's so old. It helps me feel connected to like a greater history and lineage of yoga. And especially on days where I feel like a little bit lonely, you know, if you do a posture, especially like an ancient posture like this or bow pose, postures that have been around for a long time, I just like to think about, wow, all of the people like who've done this posture, right, for like 1,000 years. And then all the people who probably happen to be doing this exact same posture right now with us, just, you know, in another part of the country or in another continent, right? I bet you there's someone in Australia doing legs up the wall pose right now. And that's one of the other things that I really love about yoga is just simply by, you know, doing a movement with our body, we're not just getting in touch with ourselves, but we're getting in touch with like a history, a culture, an area of the world where this comes out of, right? In India, modern day India. We're also maybe getting in touch just with, you know, fellow yogis. around the world, which is pretty great. We're going to hold here for another minute. Just enjoy your own company. Enjoy the way that your body moves with your breath in and out through your nose. Take an inhale through your nose and an exhale through your nose. Breathe in. And if it feels good, sigh it out, let it go. The same way that we have to practice patience, practice stillness, practice breathing. Sometimes we also just have to practice letting go. And sometimes just a good exhale through the mouth does the trick. Too much mouth breathing, right? We stimulate the nervous system, but the occasional sigh through the mouth, I think, can be a really wonderful embodiment of the practice of letting go. On the note of letting go, take your time. You're going to slowly slide your way back off the wall. I'm going to roll to one side and then make your way into your final Savasana or puddle pose. And we for sure want to hold here for a moment before we get up because you had that blood that was out of the toes, now going back to the toes. If you have time, stay in final Savasana for a couple minutes. If you don't, I totally understand. But please make sure that when you do get up, you get up very slowly because we've been lying down for so long, especially if you have low blood pressure. You want to make sure that you're slowly coming out of this one, just as a note. Otherwise, if you have time, hang here with me for a moment. Notice where you're still carrying tension in your body. And also maybe notice where you're still carrying some worries or cares in your heart. In the same way that we practiced twisting the body, stretching the body, the same way that we practiced moving our muscles and then holding very still. You can also just one more time practice letting go of anything that feels a little heavy, that's no longer serving you. Maybe it never did. On your breath in through the nose, feel your belly rise. On your breath out through the nose, feel your belly fall. Inhale. And if it feels right, as a symbolic gesture, exhale through the mouth and just let it go through the exhale breath. Breathing in, emptying out, and all is coming. And you can stay in your final Savasana as long as you'd like. When you do want to get up, please take your time, moving slowly. Have a wonderful evening. It is great to be with all of you. See you soon.